Welcome to The Explainer. So what do you do when you've got this massive financial risk staring you down, but the perfect tool to protect yourself, well, it just doesn't exist? Today, we're going to look at a super clever strategy for that exact problem, and we'll do it with a real-world case study from the airline industry.
For any big business operating around the world, financial risk is just a part of life. It's a constant battle, really. You've got prices changing, currencies going up and down. It's like trying to navigate through a thick fog. And getting through it safely, that's what survival is all about.
But, for some companies, it's not just a fog of general risks. There's one huge risk that overshadows everything else. It basically shapes their entire financial game plan. And for airlines, this one risk is a massive, non-stop headache.
All right, so let's get into it. We're going to dive into a case study about a major airline facing this exact challenge. The big one, the totally overwhelming problem of fuel costs. So before I just tell you, what do you think? What's the single biggest, most unpredictable cost for an airline? The one thing that keeps their financial planners up at night?
Yep, if you guessed fuel, you're absolutely right. It's the unpredictable price of jet fuel. I mean, these prices are just incredibly volatile. They can swing wildly from one month to the next, which makes trying to plan your budget, forget about it. It's a total nightmare.
So, how on earth does a company deal with a risk like that, especially when there's no perfect, easy answer? Well, this is where the strategy has to get really smart.
They use a cool strategy called cross-hedging, and it's exactly what it sounds like. You can't hedge your exact risk, so you find something that's really, really similar, like a financial cousin, and you hedge that instead. It's not a direct match, but it's closely related.
Think about it like this. It's like you're caught in a hailstorm, and all you have is a raincoat. Now, is a raincoat designed for hail? Nope. Will you still get a little bruised? Probably. But is it way, way better than having nothing at all? Absolutely. And that's the key idea here.
So for our airline, the asset they need to hedge is jet fuel. The problem is, there isn't a good active market for jet fuel futures. You just can't buy them easily. So, what's the next best thing? Their raincoat in this storm is heating oil futures. And why heating oil? Because their prices are cousins. They're both refined from crude oil, so they tend to move up and down together.
Okay, but here's the thing. You can't just guess how much heating oil to use. To make this imperfect tool work, the airline needs to put on its detective hat and dig into the data. They have to analyze prices from the past to figure out the exact relationship between these two fuels.
So their analysis starts with something like this, a table of historical data. What you're seeing here are the monthly price changes for both heating oil and jet fuel. And just by looking at it, you can kind of see the pattern, right? Like in month 1, both go up. In month 3, both go down. But a kind of see feeling isn't good enough. We need to get way more precise.
And that's the whole point of this analysis. The goal is to boil all that historical data down into one powerful number. We want to measure this relationship so we can figure out exactly how many gallons of heating oil futures we need to buy to protect us against the risk in jet fuel.
Right, this is where the math comes in. All that data analysis leads to calculating the single most important number for our whole strategy. It's called the hedge ratio. That might sound complicated, but it's just the number that tells us the perfect recipe for our hedge.
So this number, which we call H star, is like our magic recipe. And to find it, we're going to follow these 4 steps. We basically need to find 3 key ingredients from our data, the correlation and the volatility of each asset. Then we plug them into the final formula to get our answer.
Okay, first up is correlation, which is represented by this Greek letter rho. Correlation just measures how much the two prices move together. A 1 means they move in perfect lockstep, and our data gives us 0.928. That's super close to 1. It tells us, yep, these two prices are definitely dancing to the same beat. Next ingredient, we need to measure the volatility of our jet fuel price. Volatility is just a fancy word for how much the price jumps around. The number we get from our data is 0.0263. Just hold on to that for a second. And then we do the exact same thing for the heating oil futures. How jumpy is its price? Well, its volatility is a little higher, 0.0313. So that tells us heating oil prices have been slightly wilder than jet fuel prices. That's an important piece of the puzzle.
All right, now we have all our ingredients, we plug them into our formula, we take the correlation, how closely they dance, and we adjust it by comparing their two volatilities. And what pops out? Our magic number. The optimal hedge ratio, H star, is 0.7777.
So what does this number actually mean? This is the key takeaway. It's not just a number on a page, it's a direct instruction.
It tells the airline for every single gallon of jet fuel you plan to buy, you need to hedge it by buying 0.7777 gallons worth of heating oil futures. It's our recipe for protection.
Okay, so we've got our magic ratio. Now it's time to put our money where our mouth is. We need to turn this ratio into a real-world action. How many contracts does the airline actually need to go out and buy?
And believe it or not, there's a simple formula for that too. To find the optimal number of contracts, which we'll call N star, we just take our hedge ratio and factor in two real-world numbers, how much fuel we need to protect and how big each contract is.
So, first piece of info we need, what's the size of our risk? The airline is planning to buy 2 million gallons of jet fuel. That's the amount they need to protect.
And the second piece of info, these heating oil futures contracts come in a standard size. One contract is for 42,000 gallons.
Okay, let's plug it all in. We take our hedge ratio, times our 2 million gallons, and divide that by the 42,000 gallons in each contract. And the answer is 37.03. Now, you can't buy 0.03 of a contract, so we round to the nearest whole number. The airline needs to buy 37 contracts. Boom! That's the plan.
So, there we have it, a clear action plan. But let's step back for a second. How good is this raincoat in a hailstorm anyway? Did all that math actually accomplish anything? Why does this all matter?
Well, here's where it gets really powerful. This strategy does more than just reduce uncertainty and protect profits. It gives us a way to measure how much it helps. Remember that correlation number from before, the 0.928? If you square that number, you get 0.862. And what that means is this hedge, while not perfect, is expected to eliminate 86.2% of the price variance. That is huge. That's taking most of the risk right off the table, which is a total game changer for the airline's financial planning.
So, this whole thing really leaves us with a bigger question to think about, doesn't it? When you're faced with a big risk and the perfect shield just isn't available, don't just throw your hands up. The smartest move is often to look at the data, find the best tool you do have, and build the next best thing yourself.